Well, this is a first. Time to do a video review and playtest of the new Red Riker rifle. Why? Because it exists. And, oh hey look, a whole bunch of snowmen to shoot with it. Whee. To be honest, I've never actually tested it before.
The Snowconian has been hurt. Give it more syrup to help it heal.
To be honest, the damage it does really doesn't impress me. However, it does have an advantage in that it's not a burst fire.
That did it. The Snowconian is back in the fight.
Not being a burst fire means that if you only need to hit the enemy once, then you only hit the enemy once. And then you can switch targeting to something else. So while the actual, raw damage is kind of modest, I'm actually continually firing, and it is changing targets every single time. It doesn't do the burst fire thing where it aims 3 shots at a single opponent, and it, Now that secondary fire is some sort of an AoE.
Give it more syrup to help it heal.
And it's not a particularly potent one in terms of raw damage, but something useful for hitting groups.
Please stop the Snow Overlord before he freezes another building.
Okay, Snowconian needs more syrup.
That did it. The Snowconian is
Get one of these for later. I'll probably need a second one. It amuses me that I switched to a phaser when I'm at Cardassian. One thing I've always loved about having 2 snow weapons. What's that? Yeah, see, it's like the burst fire on the Flurry full auto snowball weapon is actually capable of functionally one-shotting the regular snowmen, but it shoots them 3 times when it does so. However, if it's a snowman low at health, it won't necessarily actually hit the target you're firing at 3 times.
The Overlord can't be reasoned with. He's frozen another building.
Yeah, that AoE seems to have a very small radius of effect. That I'm not fond of. So is it just me, or am I not getting very many, stop untargeting it.
Whoa, it's me. Another building.
So yeah, the Red Rider, if you need to kill a small army of snowmen, is a bad choice. Taking out 1 or 2 here and there, great option. Real fast firing weapon. Especially great when you're finishing off wounded snowmen that one of your allies weakened. Okay, well, it looks like we're done here.
You did it! You helped to defeat the Snow Overlord. Thank you for your help. The villagers would like you to have this reward for saving our home.
Discard, 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 discard. So yeah, they actually went to a considerable amount of time and effort to find out a way to make the Red Riker gun different and unique, and did so in a way that makes it different from any of the actual regular weapons in the game that I can think of I've ever used. Because that AoE blast it does is, well, it's not a cylinder AoE. It's apparently a point-based explosion thing. It's just not a very, large one. But the primary fire on this thing is, you know what? There is a weapon that has a similar rate of fire in terms of primary to this. Wide beam pistols. That it's a tap, 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 tap kind of firing methodology. And not something where you charge up or press the fire button and then wait for it to stop firing. No. Wide beams, you just zap, 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 zap. So, how does it compare to the other weapons? Well, there's a reason I have Flurry. Because the fact that it is one of the oldest, and it's still one of the best, in my opinion anyways. The melee weapons are an amusing idea, however, for most purposes, shooting the snowmen is quicker and easier. This, in terms of actual, being a good weapon, it's a bit iffy. But in terms of being something that's useful and fun, oh heck yes. Because this one actually, leaves carrots stuck in things. You have carrots scattered on the ground after you kill snowmen with it. That is a lot of fun. And the vine here also scatters, candy things all over the place. Not like that. This is the candy stuff that the big one scatters, I think. Anyway, though. Fine. I personally found it to be somewhat lacking in the damage department. As an AoE, that is actually a pretty good AoE. It's just low damage. Or just, that's how it felt to me when I tried using it. Caramel Assault is functionally identical to Avalanche. Well, in terms of how much damage it does, Caramel Assault seems to have a lower charge up, but a higher latency after you fire it. Because, the biggest problem Avalanche always had is the fact that it's functionally a blast assault weapon. And blast assault weapons, if you get knocked down, it fails to charge. And it just doesn't fire.
A wise man can hear profit.
And, the Caramel Assault seems to have a different firing cycle, but that the damage is about the same, but it's just a little more front-loaded, so you don't have the same issues with getting knocked down and failing to fire the weapon. What else we have? Did all the melee weapons. Snowblower. This one is infamous. Why? Because the secondary does insane damage and in a massive AoE, and will kill 20 or 30 snowmen at the same time. It is that powerful. However, it is probably the shortest ranged of all of the actual ranged weapons in the thing, and I
This
wouldn't
is
recommend
it
having it as
for
your only
business.
weapon. To be honest, pairing this with something that's long range like the Red Rider rifle would actually be pretty good. The character I use it on right now has Freezing Mist, which functions like a split beam rifle, but has, equal range to a split beam rifle. So, you can pick off targets at quite a long distance with this one. Hail. Dual pistols. Literally, honestly. Uh, Works the same as a traditional dual pistol, although I think these actually have better range than
This
a
is good for
actual
You
business.
energy
love
weapon dual
all the little
pistol.
creatures, even you.
The big one. Now this is weird. It's significantly different than the real or regular weapon that it's based on, and not in a good way. At least for the primary. Okay, the primary has relatively short range, pretty close to the short range of the snowblower, honestly. Shorter than the range of a regular pulse wave gun. It generally fires the same as a pulse wave gun, though. Except for the secondary. Notice how it says explosive blast. You're basically firing a
You is a genius.
rocket-propelled grenade at the enemies.
So, man,
This is something where having it so you can swap to it, fire the secondary, and then switch back to something else is quite good. Because the primary on this, the range on it is very lacking, although the primary is an AoE. It's a cone, actually, and thus it will actually hit multiple enemies up close if you're up close with multiple enemies. The actual damage is good. It's just the primary fire on it has such a short range that it's a pain in the ass to actually try using. Flurry, already talked about this. Full auto rifle that, oh hey, it even says full auto in the ability description. Works like a full auto rifle. Actually, slightly better since the secondary fire has a 30-meter range instead of 25 like a regular full auto
I
does.
have winter items from
Avalanche! Yeah, I talked about this one already.
Echo!
Freezing Mist, the Impaler. This is a sniper rifle. The fun part with this one is that it fires icicles at enemies, and they have icicles sticking out of them after you shoot them. Really cool. The primary on this is, a single shot fire. Okay, tap target, tap target, tap target. It isn't a particularly quick one, though. It has a lot more damage per shot than the Red Rider does, and it's a single fire, so it's about moderate in terms of actually killing a target and acquiring a new target. And the secondary, like a standard sniper shot, has issues with getting interrupted, and if you're trying to snipe something and then someone else kills it, you wasted a shot. So the actual secondary on this really isn't all that great for general use. Boss fights, though, is pretty good. This is a weird one. It's kind of like a full auto rifle, sniper rifle hybrid. Because the primary fire is a start burst, which is basically the same thing as the primary fire in a flurry. You fire more than one round. It hits for pretty hefty damage, and then the secondary is a heavy single hit to a single target, which again is a lot like the secondary on the Impaler in terms of how it works out. And that's it for the actual weapons.
Hugh loves all the little creatures, even you.
And let's see here. Shaved Ice Gateway, Ice Flurry, Ice Turret, Snowball Mortar.
This
These are all
is
things where
big business.
you're targeting an enemy, you use this, and then you have something to do damage to enemies for a while. All of them are useful. If you have, I mean, experience with the counterparts, they work more or less the same way. This is like a regular beam turret, a mortar turret. Flurry and Gateway are things that they added when they about the same time they were doing the Iconian War stuff, because they're based on Iconian technology abilities. Where Gateway is like that one of those energy rifts that the Iconian summon, which just like zaps whoever's near it. This is just an AoE that kind of like follows enemies, but really slowly. But it's a damage patch that doesn't just sit there. And, a few other things. Oh, right. A different turret. What's the difference between these two? Oh, right. This one is actually a cone when it fires. It doesn't fire as often. This is a rapid fire snowball launcher. This fires like a cone effect that I guess is actually similar to that Iconian turret design. And Kenny King Caltrops. This is actually really good for boss fights and Tides of Ice, because in Tides of Ice, the enemies have to pathfind through these. Gingerbread Defense Squad, summon minions to shoot things for you. Avalanche, and Explosive Gumdrop. Both of these are things that are more useful for boss killing than regular enemies, because of the fact that you can just shoot regular enemies faster than you can even use these. But these will do a hefty amount of damage to bosses. Oh well, and I think that's it. So, time to call it here. Oh yeah, these don't do damage to me. Red Riker, new idea. Novel, yes. Good. Do bit debatable. I'm really not sure. Oh, also, it claims that it disables targets. I'm really not sure how that scales. I suspect that it doesn't last as long as you would think it does, but I'm not sure. Also, the whole disabling mechanic, if they're dead, they're not going to be doing anything anyways. So who cares? Oh well, that's enough of that. I would honestly, I think after trying it out, the Red Riker's primary fire is actually good enough to be worth using. The gimmick associated with it is questionable, though. Oh well, that's enough for now. See you later.